Hello and welcome back to VLADdoodles. I don't know. I had an entire thing planned that I wanted to do, but it was like destroyed a few. I don't know. I kept trying and it just wasn't working, so I'm just turning this into like a random Yap sesh, and then if I sound like weird, like if my voice sounds really weird right now, it's because I just woke up. I was crying last night and I'm kind of sick. It'll probably get better throughout the video as I wake up more, but for right now, you gotta deal with this. I don't know, maybe let's talk about the sketch process of like doing this or watercolors. Honestly, when I got this palette, like at first, I'm gonna be honest, my initial feeling was a bit of disappointment because I think I've mentioned it before, and if you know me in real life, you know that I don't really like watercolors. I'm not a big watercolor fan, even though watercolors was technically my first like paint medium or like medium in general, because at the time in like my little fifth grade head, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fancy, right? I was like, this is like the peak of art respect, because I followed a lot of like artists who, granted, were very cool at their craft and I took a lot of inspiration from at the time. But, like I think one of them was like Kellegg's Loops on Instagram and TikTok. But alas, it was never really my style. I really like working dark to light, and I really like, I don't know, speed and the ability to change things as quickly as possible. And you know what I mean? Like, if I'm painting something, I don't know where I'll be like, what if this is no longer a hand? What if this is like, I don't know, a foot? I can do that with most like thick paints or like with gouache or something, but with watercolor, you have to be very conscious of your process. And this part, like the sketching part, was super nerve-wracking for me because with watercolor, even if it's like pencil, it just feels permanent. And for this one, I really tried to just use the watercolors, which I think I ended up succeeding in. I did just end up using watercolors, except for the very end. I think for the background, I used some acrylic. I got an acrylic marker to like fill in the background really quickly and change it. But just like, I don't know, the idea of having to just use watercolor, and I feel like the sketch for this is relatively light, but to be fair, I didn't lighten it all the way. I didn't really bring out my kneaded eraser or anything. A big part of that was because I feel like I feel like for most people, if you don't like have a subconscious like incentive to push and layer your colors in watercolors, it's really easy to end up making like the art really pale. You know what I mean? Like you'll put like one good layer down and then just like add I don't know, like a bit of blush on top and call it a day. I don't know. I think mainly like intermediate watercolor artists do it, or like certain style of watercolors do it. And for me, it's like I love layers, and so I did a lot of layers. Also, the paper for this is not correct, which is why you see like that weird separation and like granulation uh, throughout. Like I don't know, like the purple and like the first or the second layer that I put down, like the first color layer. At first, it was a bit concerning and a little daunting because I was like, oh my gosh, um, this texture. But then I was like, who am I? I love texture, and it kind of, um, I don't know. Sorry, my voice keeps fucking up. I kind of slid into it. I need water, I think, but we ball. So don't be me. If you're gonna get watercolors or get these watercolors, you should, or even any watercolors, I would recommend using the right paper if you want like smooth, nice results, because that is not promised to you if you're using the wrong paper. I think this is the Ohuhu marker paper, and it's chill, it's nice. I think I've used it like only like once or twice for something because I usually do everything else in my sketchbook. Like it's very rare that I do things outside of my sketchbook that aren't like a giant canvas or something. So this was honestly a little bit nice, but now I don't know what to do with it. I'm thinking about framing it maybe, or maybe giving it to a friend or something, but I don't know yet. I could just leave it there. I could just be normal and leave it there, but I feel like I don't want to. This is honestly like doing this watercolor piece is something that I was really, I don't know, really proud of myself for. Like even now, like looking at it, I'm like I'm still proud of it. Like I've only just started, like after a few days of painting it, to see like my biggest flaws in it, I guess, or having a lot of like critique about it and like kind of hating it a little bit, which for me, that is so cool because typically my self-hatred is instant. It's as I'm painting it and after I finish painting it. Well, usually not as I'm painting it. I feel like painting it kind of drowns out a lot of things. I kind of, um, I don't know, the best part for me of drawing is just the process of doing it, I think, and just feeling the material and working with it. I think the worst part is seeing the result and then being disappointed in yourself, but you kind of tamp it down if I'm like, this was a good painting sesh, you know? I kind of struggled a lot with this though because another thing about watercolor is that it requires so much patience that I do not have, and I took so many breaks during this. I think I did. So let me explain the breaks that I took because I just could not stand and like just sit here and wait for this. And I could have brought out I technically did have like a, what do you call it? A blow dryer hooked up. Completely did not think to use it at all. I just didn't want to. Also, I was kind of scared of it moving the paint around, so I just didn't. But I did the sketch, or no, I opened up the sketchbook, right? Or no, I did the thumbnails first, and then I opened up the sketchbook. I put the tape down, and then took a break. Then I came back, and I did part of the sketch. Left, took a break, came back, finished the sketch, and then took a break from that. Then I came back and I did the first layer, took a break. And when I say break, it wasn't really a break. I kind of just walked downstairs of my house and then like paced around my living room for like 30 minutes, like while sipping juice or something to keep my mind on the fact that I had to wait for the layers to dry. And then I kind of just kept doing that between layers. So like second layer, you know, put that wash down, go downstairs. And then I think after those initial wash layers though, everything really picked up because it was all like detail work and I can like work on multiple parts at the same time without having to worry about this part drawing or this part drawing. I can just kind of keep going. So that was super nice. I will say I kind of cheated a little bit because watercolor clearly is not meant to be super opaque, but I do this thing. I'm not sure if it's super common. I feel like it should be, or like it might be, but it's from my cheap, really, really cheap art supply days where the only art supplies I got were like those really shitty sets on Christmas. And so when I got watercolors, and even at the time, I kind of knew I wanted like really opaque things, right? Or like I wanted to do like those cool highlights I saw everyone else doing, but I didn't have like the jelly roll that was like super popular. I didn't have like, you know, the cool white, I don't know, like paint or whatever. And I didn't know what gouache was yet. And so I remember, even I still do it, but I would take like the pigment or like little pan. It could be like Crayola watercolors, and I would just put like a drop of water and just sit there for like 5 minutes, just like swirling around the brush on top of it to like build up the pigment, and then barely add any water at all, and use that for highlights. And it always worked. I think if you put like as little water as you can and then just like swirl it around, it always works. And I use that a lot on here, mainly for like the pink and the hands. And then if you look at the face, like all that blue shadow, like bluish purple shadow I have there is the same way. I think these paints aren't very, I mean, they're okay, they're opaque, but like they're not opaque. I think they're just really bright to the point they look opaque. Because I think when I posted a first video on them, I had, or like a little sketch thing on them or whatever, I did put, I don't know, I used like a really dark sketch. I think if I remember correctly, I used a really dark sketch because it was in my sketchbook. I was trying them out for the first time. Like I think I had just gotten these in the mail, so I had just opened them up, and my first thing was like, let me try them out, let me see if I like them after swatching. So I did a little painting, and in the little painting, I didn't even use this technique really. I think I used it like once for like some highlights on the face or whatever, but like it wasn't like fully opaque or anything like that. It was just like a little bit more opaque than usual. But I think even though you could still clearly see the sketch underneath, people were in the comment section being like, this is gouache, and I was like, no, this is not gouache. If this was gouache, I'd make a really shitty gouache because I have to work so hard to make anything super opaque. But like, these are great watercolors. Yeah. Also, when I posted that video, I got like really annoyed because I think I posted the video and like the day of, like the day or two, I wasn't really active on my phone. I'm not really active ever or like on anything, but when I posted it, there was like a bunch of people just being really rude for some reason. And even after I went to the comments and explained like, hey, like I'm pretty sure these aren't out yet. Like I looked on the Instagram, I looked on their TikTok, I looked on their official site. I could not find this palette, but like, and technically I'm not just making this video until after I let them see it. So in a few days I'll post it, which to be fair, this video was supposed to be out a few days ago, but I just did not get the chance to because circumstance. But I did post another version of this video on my TikTok, and that was basically the same thing. Like it was fine. But like at the time I literally could not find it anywhere, and I'm like, there's no point in me like telling you at the moment because, you know, whatever. And then I'm like, everyone was like, well, what's the brand? I'm like, well, it's literally in the description, like it's literally in the hashtags, and people kept ignoring it. And some people were like telling people like, you know, hey, it's this. But I think the main reason I had muted the comment section for that is because there was like a weird, like, general chunk of people who were just lying through their fucking teeth throughout that comment section and like telling people that like, oh, it's this palette, or like, oh, it's this palette, or like, hey, it's this palette. Which I feel like I could take the scathing, annoying comments of people just being wrong and generally snarky, but like lying to a bunch of people and like trying to get them to buy watercolor palettes that it's not the right one, like that was diabolical. But eventually the watercolors did come out like a few days ago, I think, or like I think a few days before I posted my video. Like they finally had like something up. You can like find a video for the watercolors, which is kind of nice. And so I finally posted mine out. The company was super nice, honestly, and I think I want to work with them in the future. I think they're sending me something else, and I might make like another video or two on their products. But I think on TikTok, I might not do it on YouTube. It's probably too long. Also, I don't know what to do. Like I think I tried to do like a regular review for like the watercolors with the first voiceover for this, and I just could not figure it out at all. Like I'm like, what do I say? Like after saying like the initial like watercolor things and like how the process went, you know. But also I think it's because I'm not really a watercolor artist. Like I think I can give my opinion on the watercolors because I use them, and like the quality of them because I used them, but I can't really give you a super in-depth like the pigment number 536482 blah 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 blah, you know, is blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to explain it, but I don't have that expertise that other actual watercolor artists do have. So I am really excited to see if other artists review these or talk about these, because I would love to watch their videos on this. Like I think like this palette in like the hands of a actual watercolor artist would go so hard. I love it dearly. I think I don't know. A lot of people kept saying it reminded them of the Gravy palette, and I'm gonna say something. I wasn't really into the Gravy palette. I did have it for a little bit. Like I got it for, I think, I don't know. I basically got it because they reached out to me, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll try it out. I tried it out. I didn't really like it as much, and I gave it to my friend L, and he loves it. But he's also a watercolor artist, so I don't know. I might see if I can get L to try these watercolors to see how much he likes them, and if not, I might buy him one of these palettes. I don't know. I like spoiling him. Yeah, but I mean that's kind of all I had to say about the watercolors. There's not much. Ooh, I love doing these little fine detail parts. I don't usually do a lot of detail in my work. Like if you know me, yeah, if you know, you know. But I'm an incredibly lazy artist. I thrive off of being super lazy and not doing anything ever, especially when it comes to art. Ooh, I use pearlescents for this too. I like shun all pearlescents, but for once I was like, let me use like the metallic pearlescent colors in the watercolor pack, because usually I never use them. They kind of just sit there. But the ones here I actually really liked, and it added so much to the actual piece. Oh, and here's where I used the acrylic marker. But if you look in the eye and you look in the knife, I used the little palette, or not the little palette, the little metallic like pearlescent colors, and it makes it pop so much. And watching it like catch in the light in real life is so nice. It's very awesome. Yeah, I was talking about something before. I got distracted by the pearlescence, but I cannot remember, and I do not feel like rewinding this to find out what I was saying. So, whatever I was saying, I don't know, end of thought, I guess. I'm a little hungry though, and the video's coming to an end, so I might make some breakfast. I haven't really been able to eat lately, like maybe it's like the sickness, but everything's making me feel kind of nauseous. But I might get some toast. I've been eating only toast. I mean, I go through periods where I can only eat like one or two things, and toast is right now is really that safe food. Toast with butter and jam, toast with just a toast with ranchero beans, not Bush's baked beans. I'm not British, but ranchero and like a little bit of like picante or like Tabasco or something with like cheese in the morning is really nice. Maybe like some huevos. So yeah, and then here's my little signature. Lord! And then here's the artwork. So thanks for watching. Comment down below. See you later.